Hello, thanks for taking a few minutes to watch this video. Don't worry about taking notes. I've included a PDF with the highlights, as well as some links to my favorite recovery meetings. But first, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Kate Vitella. I've been a registered nurse for over 2 decades, and I got sober in 2018. After that, I studied to become board certified in mental health, addiction, and I became a nurse coach. But I think it's important to convey to you here that I've also hit rock bottom with my drinking and I've climbed my way out. So not only have I done the scientific research, but I have the lived experience. And I know that this journey can be brutal. But I also know it's amazing on the other side. Freedom and recovery from alcohol is absolutely possible. So let's get started here. Okay, so we've all been there. We told ourselves we were just going to have one or two drinks. We end up drinking excessively. We're incredibly hungover. And then we tell ourselves we're never going to drink again. And then we drink again. So, what I want to do here is explain sort of what's going on with alcohol in the brain and how it's keeping you trapped. Because alcohol has a two-part process. It has what we call the A-B process. Ultimately, what it leads to is anxiety, right? That term you might have heard thrown around on social media, where you feel hungover with a low level of anxiety. And this sort of kind of continues on in your life as a cycle, leading you to drink to cope and then wondering why you're stuck in this maddening cycle. And you think, well, if I just use willpower, I can break my way out of this. I can stop drinking. But it's so much more complicated than that. And I want to explain to you the trap that alcohol sets by this AB process, because this was an area where I felt so stuck and I kept coming back to drinking over and over and over again. And I really wish someone would have just explained this part to me. So let's start with the initial phase. I like to think of this as A for alcohol and B for brain balance. So stick with me here. When you first drink, the initial phases of your alcohol intake are increased levels of dopamine, feeling good, feeling relaxed, and a chemical messenger in the brain called GABA that also helps induce relaxation is increased. Then your cortisol, your stress hormone levels go down, your adrenaline goes down. So you're feeling pretty relaxed and chill. So then the B process kicks in. And this is where your brain is compensating for the depressant that you just threw in it. So your dopamine levels go down. And that chemical messenger GABA that was helping you relax also decreases. To make matters worse, your cortisol and your adrenaline levels increase. So you can see where that anxiety feeling starts to creep in. This also explains why you might wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning with your heart racing, feeling anxious, sweaty, nauseous, hungover, and compounding all this could be guilt or fear or stress of all the things that occurred the night before. Because I don't know about you, but I never had a big night drinking that really ended all that well. So, this is the flip side of what happens when we drink. So, what happens over time is the brain actually has to work harder and harder to counterbalance all these effects of alcohol. This leads to tolerance. You need more alcohol to feel the same effects. The B process becomes more dominant. The negative effects, the stress, the anxiety, the need for more alcohol actually intensifies. So I want you to pause here for a moment and realize this is the part where you get trapped in a cycle to avoid that anxiety and overwhelm, because you are living in a low level stress, a low level anxiety, and it feels perfectly natural to want to drink and to cope. So I'm going to add one more bit of bad news here before we get to the solution. But I think this is important. I often hear clients say, I do really good until the 5 o'clock hour hits. And then I find myself going right back. And there's a scientific reason for this. Alcohol actually causes like a pre-drinking anxiety, which can rise up around 5 p.m. because your brain is really smart. It begins to anticipate the AB process. So it anticipates the effects of alcohol. And this triggers sort of a preemptive strike. So your stress hormones, your cortisol and adrenaline, prepare for the upcoming imbalance. You get anxiety before you even start drinking. I know this is super frustrating. What happens is you have this dopamine anticipation. The expectation of alcohol actually triggers a dopamine release, like a reward anticipation. But anxiety arises as the brain braces for both the initial buzz, the A process, and the eventual crash in the B process. So your brain is preparing. And if drinking becomes a habit, then the body can actually start increasing your cortisol levels in advance because it's anticipating that stress response that follows your drinking. So you can see how this gets incredibly hard to break out of. It's actually sort of Pavlovian, like Pavlov's dog. Like they ring the bell and you salivate, except for the brain anticipates this pre drinking time with future stress and hangover and negative effects because it's created a conditioned anxiety response even before you drink. So, with this in mind, you can give yourself a break here. You can relax, take a deep breath, and understand that alcohol's doing you dirty. This AB process is trapping you in ways you probably didn't even realize. Okay, so we've talked about the AB process, and you can see how easy it is to get trapped into it. Repeatedly over time, drinking causes sort of a mental groove or a strong pathway in the brain. So you default to it almost out of habit without even thinking about it. Luckily, there's neuroplasticity. We have the ability to rewire the brain. So we've come to this pattern where the minute that we are stressed, angry, hungry, tired, lonely, bored, whatever, we drink. So we have to create a new pattern and we have to build new neural circuitry. So how do we do that? We need a hard stop. We need to rewire through a pattern interrupt. And what that means is you're going to pause, step back, recognize that you're stuck in this cycle, and choose a new pattern. Now, over time, repeatedly choosing a new way of living will weaken those old pathways, and it'll become easier and easier and easier to default to not drinking. These days, when alcohol is presented in front of me, it's an automatic, no way, dude. But that takes time, right? I had to build that new neural circuitry and that new pathway. So, as part of this pattern interrupt, the key things that are most important for you to do here are attend a support group recovery meeting of some kind every single day. Remember, you're building new neural circuitry, a new pattern. So I encourage my clients to go to 90 meetings in 90 days. It seems a bit excessive, but it's super important to build that new pattern. You're also going to do a bunch of other things instead of drink. And I'm not going to go on and on about all that because you can Google that. But things I encourage my clients to do are to journal daily, attend a meeting daily, move your body daily, spend some time in silence. every single day, meditating, dropping into some kind of mindfulness or prayer. Check in with what's going on with you. I also see my clients once a week so that I can check in with what's going on with them and we can address all the things that are coming up for them. But I want you to understand how important it is to seek support here. You cannot do this alone. I've literally never seen anyone be entirely successful and happy with sobriety by doing it 100% on their own. A couple words you'll hear me say over and over if you enter into my bubble fall into the acronym of WAC. Number one is willingness. No one can make you get sober. No one and nothing. You have to be willing because only you can do this. You have to be willing to take the next step. Be honest with another human being about your struggle. No one can help you unless you're truly honest. Be humble. Use some humility. Don't have such a chip on your shoulders. Use humor. I encourage my clients to laugh. We laugh a lot. Humor is so healing in the recovery process. Plus, we've got some stories. I mean, come on, this stuff's funny. You've got to abstain. Abstinence is part of the deal. Sorry. Abstinence of all mood and mind altering substances. It's absolutely important here. And consistency. And I want to express the importance of consistency because it's really going to be small steps. It's going to be small things you repeat every single day consistently that really move the needle here. Small things done consistently over time, attending meetings, talking with someone who's farther along on the journey, meditating, journaling, moving your body, choosing abstinence. Over time, that consistently adds up to your own personal freedom. I just want to end this by saying there's a reason that you stumbled on this video. You are not here by accident. So take this momentum, move forward, join a recovery group. I have no affiliate links to any of these groups. I have no stake in which one you join. I just want to see you be part of an awesome recovery community where people talk openly about all of this stuff. Because here's the thing. When I was in your shoes, I didn't feel like there was any hope for me. I felt so lost and broken. I needed someone to tell me that I could do this. And I'm telling you this right here, right now. I believe in you. I know you can freaking do this.